ground. The real nitty-gritty. Boots on the ground. It's the real nitty-gritty. Boots on the ground. It's the real nitty-gritty. Boots on the ground. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to the panel. Shout out to the NTZ crew. I see you, Michael Beecher Life. Elliot Mikado. I know Jacob Chanje is going to be on here. Welcome to any new viewers and subscribers. This is your first time watching the live stream. Also, to anybody who's going to watch this on replay, and of course, my old heads. That's T. Teller. He says, bring OG Fred back. Well, OG Fred has an open invitation. He just hasn't contacted me. There's Roger. Today's the panel. I've got a special guest. I did invite one other couple. I don't know if they haven't shown up yet, but welcome, John. You're from what part of Mexico are you from, John?
I'm in Puerto Penasco, Sonora, Mexico, which is, it's also called Rocky Point. It's the northern section of the Sea of Cortez, 1 hour from the Arizona border.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the other panel members. That's Steve and Bea from Philippines in Full Effect. Welcome to the panel today. Where are y'all from?
Thanks for having us.
Where are you from?
We're coming from Iloilo.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thanks for joining us today. I've got a lot of questions for y'all. So we got John. He's in the Sonora region of Mexico. Now, is it safe over there, John? Every time somebody says Sonora, I think about the drug cartels and stuff.
Well, that's the first question that everybody asks on every forum, and my relatives. And I'm going to tell you the short answer is yes, it's very safe right here where I'm at. It's safer than the United States. With that said, however, about 10 clicks up the road is a mass burial site where the cartel chooses to dispose of young men that have gone wayward with them. But as long as you stay out of their business, you stay out of things that are going to get you in trouble everywhere in the world, you're going to have a nice, peaceful life here. Mexicans are no drama. They don't like confrontation. They're nice people. It's a good existence. We're very safe.
Well, thank you. Now go ahead and introduce yourself, Philippines in Full Effect.
Hi, I'm Steven. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've been living in the Philippines for since 2015, 8 years, almost 8 years complete now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all gonna have to speak up a little bit. I turn your volume up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Don't be afraid. We're not gonna bite you.
You have to move it further in front.
Okay. Steven,
right. Yeah. Are we good on audio?
Yeah, you're good now.
Right.
Okay.
So I am Bea, born in Nave. I'm originally from Puerto Princesa, Palawan, and maybe you've heard of that island before. And so I grew up there, and we actually moved in Iloilo 4 years ago, I think.
Almost 5.
So yeah.
Oh wow.
So business expansion, but yeah. So here we are. Thank you for having us.
So y'all married? Y'all married couple?
Yeah, we just had our 7-year anniversary on April 30th when we were in Cebu celebrating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they came to the meet and greet. And Stephen, if it's okay with you and Bea, I'm going to take you up on your invitation to have the next meet and greet in the let's try it the last week of June. That way, we're giving people enough heads up and introduce them to the city of Iloilo, because I love it there. It's clean, it's safe. So if y'all can get us a place,
Yeah,
I'll certainly set it up.
we'll scout out a few places. I sent you an email, and then we can kind of decide what the best place is, because there are a lot of options here. So um, I'm pretty sure we can find something nice.
Yeah, we want something in the daytime because normally, like I said, Derek does an excellent job. That was just the only place he could get. Normally, we have it in the the noontime hours. That way, because everybody's retired, and it's normally not at a bar. But
Mhm.
I had a good time. I think it turned out good.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was, cozy setting upstairs. I didn't even know anything was going on downstairs when he started saying the stuff that was going on downstairs. I didn't know, that it was a whole different vibe. But upstairs, it was. I mean, somebody had a baby up there, so it wasn't that risque up top where everybody was
Right.
doing the meet and greet.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, John. How long have you been in Mexico? Are you considered an expat, right?
Well, I've been here 9 years. Um, I guess I'm still an expat. I haven't gotten my citizenship. I don't plan to. It's not really necessary down here
Yeah.
where we're at. Um, I don't plan on moving anywhere, but I plan on doing a lot of traveling, and this is my home base. I can live on $500 a month where I'm at.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not the only guy. If you do it right, just like where you're at, if you're smart, you know how to do things, you're going to be able to pull it off. And it's been a work. It's been a work in progress. It took me a long time to build it up like
Yeah.
this.
Now you married?
No, I've been divorced for 40 years.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you then, what is the immigration policy in Mexico? Because I don't know.
Okay, good question. And I suspect just like the Philippines, it changes every minute. But at the second, if you fly into Mexico, you're going to get a tourist visa, a tourist ticket, if you will, and they can give you up to 180 days to go anywhere you want. Then the next step, if you choose, you can get a temporary visa that you would have to renew every year, up to 3 years. And then after that, you can get a permanent visa. We drive here, so when you cross the border, the only thing that you're going to come into is immigration, and the National Guard is up there to make sure you're not bringing in any guns, drugs, things you're not supposed to have, but they don't check your immigration status whatsoever. So I would tell you that of the population of Puerto Penasco was probably around 40,000. They get 2 million visitors from Arizona
Wow.
and California. And the weather here is absolutely amazing. And, I'm a 2-minute bike ride up to the Sea of Cortez. The beaches are award winning. So we get a lot of people here. And I would tell you maybe 2% of them actually get the tourist visa. We're illegal aliens for the most
Yeah.
part. Now, I've got mine. I
Right.
just happened to get it
Yeah.
because I'm going to do some traveling.
Mhm.
But it's super easy. You come down and you live and nobody messes with you, and immigration's not here. If the police pull you over, they don't really have the authority to do anything. And that's another story. Someday, when you
Wow.
have more time, I'll tell you interesting stuff.
Yeah. So Stephen, by you being married, you have I think you told me you have the 13A visa.
Yeah,
No,
I got
oh, I'm
approved
sorry.
13A, so
Yeah.
uh, resident now.
Let me ask you real quick, John. So how much is your rent if you can live off of 500 US per month? What's your rent? Just give me to me because I'm gonna go
Well,
back to Stephen.
let me tell you the dynamics of people living here. They built a lot of condos that people bought, and the other side is that people purchased big RVs. And there's a lot of RV parks that are down here, and they're sunbirds. They'll come down from Canada, northern part of the United States, and they'll stay out on the beach for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And a lot of people in Arizona will buy big motorhomes, fifth wheels, things like that, and bring it into a compound. And they're vacation homes, weekends. They come down on the weekend and they stay or they stay for a month or two. And that's what I did years ago is I bought a 30-foot fifth wheel trailer, and it's on a fairly sizable plot of land. It's covered and has a pretty substantial patio outside, a dirty kitchen, if you will, big screen TV, upper deck. So probably 1,500 square feet of living space. And my rent for the space is $166 a month, or I think it comes out, I pay annually. I think it's like almost $1,900 a year that I pay. That includes water. My electricity is approximately $40 a month, and it's for 2 months. So, $80 for 2 months. The internet's about $30. And that's, the rest of the stuff is just leña. Just things that you might need to, to get food or, whatever there is. So just from the numbers I gave you, you can see it can be done.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, Stephen, what kind of budget do you and Bea have? I know you're married and everything. So, what, just approximately. You don't have to go through everything, but what are you spending in Iloilo?
Well, that's always a thing between us. She likes to live more on a budget, and I do. But if I see something that I want, I get it. I'm like you say, Calvin, we're in that last quarter, man, and I'm not going to deny myself something. But I don't have elaborate lifestyle where I'm buying jewelry. I don't drink and stuff like that. But our general, she would be able to answer that better. How much do you think we spend a month total in our budget?
It's on average.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask her.
Maybe with everything, food, everything, electricity, rent, it might be 1,500 a month for us.
Well, that's not bad. That's not bad for a couple. Now, how much is y'all's rent, if you don't mind?
No, not at all. You can ask anything, man. Initially, when we moved into this place, we've been here about 2 years, and the place we're in now, it started at 25,000, and now I think it's what 26.5. Yeah, 26,500. So
yeah, the peso is 55.47. By the way, what's the exchange rate in Mexico, John?
Bad. It's around 790 or 1790 peso to the dollar. For the past 8 years, it's been around 2021, but the dollar's getting its butt kicked pretty hard.
Wow.
Down here.
Why do you think that is?
Well, certainly the economy of the United States is kind of having some issues right now. I think the dollar is losing its power globally right now. I kind of pay attention to the Philippine peso a little bit to see if that's going up and down. It doesn't appear to be affected that much, but I don't know why Mexico is getting beat up. And not only that, the inflation rate down here is really pretty surprising. Things have gone up a great deal. I don't know, the average salary for a Mexican is about $500. I don't know how they're able to deal with the day-to-day life and the way that the prices have raised. I don't get it, but they're very creative people.
Well, they do the same thing. Filipinos and Mexicans have a lot in common with that culture and the colonialism and all that, but they stick together. That's what they do here in the Philippines. You may have 3 or 4 generations in one house over here, and they pool their resources and they get it done. It reminds me of when I was growing up. But see, now in America, everything's splintered. It's every man for himself. But in Mexico and in the Philippines, it's a lot different. Now, your channel is called Philippines in Full Effect. In a nutshell, what is it about, Stephen, and how old is it?
Our channel is actually maybe 6 weeks, 6 weeks old, going into our 7th week. But right now we have like 25, almost 26,000 views and 861 or something like that subs.
Wow,
And
that's a lot, man. But
so
you
we
were
don't
telling me that
we don't know what to judge that by, though. Is that good, or we have nothing
no,
to judge?
that's really good. When I had 6 weeks, I probably had 50 subscribers
Oh, okay.
in my 6 weeks. But
Yeah.
you said Bea's good at the SEO. What's that stand for?
Search engine optimization. And we're both kind of familiar with Google, but she's really more the expert than me. And so when we put our channel together, we kept some of those principles in mind. And who knows, since Google and YouTube are connected, maybe that helped. We don't know, but it seems to be working a little bit.
Well, it certainly helps. You can ask the two traveling expats. Their channel was almost a year old. They had 640, but then when they came on here, we were able to push them on over to 1,000. Hopefully, we can do that for you. But what is your channel about, basically? I mean, what are you talking about? Just a married couple in the Philippines? Or what are you talking about?
No, actually, the reason it's called Philippines in Full Effect is because we're a little bit broad of everything, because we're going to cover relationships, we're going to cover life in the Philippines, we're going to cover also business, because we built a pretty successful business before the pandemic hit and took us out, and then travel, to show people, like, when you are based in the Philippines, how easy it is to go to different places. We went to Bali in February, and the beginning of next month we'll be in Vietnam, right? So, just to show people that, and that's another advantage that some don't think about. Like, when you're here, there are places to travel in the Philippines, but also local travel and international travel. So that's the name in full effect, to give you kind of like a full view of what life in the Philippines can be like.
Yeah.
What's the dating like in Mexico, John? I mean, in a nutshell.
Well, I
Is
knew
it
that
like it is in the Philippines?
it's nothing like the Philippines at all. Um, I think because of there's plenty of opportunities for Mexican ladies to work, and they do, and they find 2 and 3 jobs, and they work, and they're raising. You mentioned it. They're raising grandkids, and they're raising nieces and nephews and children, and so they're going to go out there and find a way to get it done. But I think primarily they would prefer to stay in their own culture with their own people, and I have never been discriminated against in any form or fashion. They're a very accommodating people, but I don't think I would be their first choice. And I don't see that happening a lot, out there in the street. Now, unfortunately, they've got to find a way to make a living and feed those kids. So, they might become a little creative and become a girlfriend, but it's nothing like the Philippines at all.
Well, I think all around the planet, people really prefer to stay within their culture. It's the same way here in the Philippines. It's a small fraction of women who actually date us. Most Filipinos I date are married to Filipinos. It's just that that's just how it is around the world. I was just wondering, because I know when I was in Tijuana, now that's a whole other monster. I saw a lot of prostitution and stuff like that. I mean, a lot. I'm talking about, I was on a street. I don't think I've ever seen as many prostitutes in my life. They were lined up on both sides for as far as you can see. And
Well, that's Zona Norte. It's the only legal prostitution area up there. Generally, prostitution isn't legal in Mexico. Up there in that particular area, it is. There's no brothels down here. There's gentlemen's clubs, and every gentlemen's club in Mexico has, a place where they go. I don't choose to. I'm 65 years old. I've been everywhere and seen it all. Doesn't have an interest for me, but
that's a great point. But also, I think the Philippines gets a bad rap. The Philippines is so spread out. Most of the women here, they're not trying to work in bars. They're not trying to marry a foreigner. They're not doing all of that. and that's what my channel was to do, was to get rid of a lot of those myths that surround the Philippines. It's a lot of mystery surrounding this place because people don't come here. They go to Mexico though, so I think Mexico, they see more foreigners there than the Philippines. But uh, did you get any pushback bail from marrying Stephen, from marrying a foreigner?
No, not really.
Really? Not really? Or no?
No. It's my if you're talking about like my parents or family, they really trust my judgment, and I would say
Yeah.
that they know me and how I would choose a mate or a partner. And yeah, not really, and they love Stephen.
Yeah.
So it's all good. They know that um they got to know Steven and know they trust him, you know,
Mm.
with our relationship. So it's a really good dynamic for us. We don't have any major
That's
problems
good.
with family and pushbacks.
Now, what about you, Stephen? Did you get any pushback? Did they think like have you ever taken Bea to America yet?
No, we haven't gone yet.
So that,
If there wasn't a break in the with the
what did
pandemic,
your
we,
family think?
I didn't nothing, man. Not anything really. I mean, it's I've always did what I wanted to do, so my family was used to that, and so I don't think it surprised them when I told them I was leaving.
Have they ever heard of the Philippines?
Oh, of course, yeah. But
And what kind of
they
reputation does the Philippines have over there in New Orleans?
in New Orleans. Well, actually, I was living in Houston when I moved, but the Philippines, just the basic stereotypical, the beaches, probably. Um,
I mean, about the women, because you get attacked when you. If I say I'm going to even Mexico, people say bring me something back. If I say I'm going to the Philippines, they say, "Are you going over there to take advantage of those women and you and all
yeah,
this and that?" And it's never nothing good. So that's why I try to spread the good, because there's a lot of good over here. People just don't know about this place. Most of the pushback I get are from people who've never been here before.
yeah, and that's usually the case. I find is the people that never step foot in here. I mean, I came here and never had stepped foot in the Philippines before. I mean, my first trip was my only trip. I went home once in 2016, but um, it's not. It was like maybe for 3 weeks. So I've been here mostly since 2015. Um, but that was my first time here. But I knew I could deal with the climate. I love the beaches, and Bear was here. So at
Yeah.
that point in my life, I didn't think I knew what I was getting into. So,
So how did y'all meet, by the way? He said, I'm just curious. How did you meet your wife? Because I've met Bea in person. She's a very beautiful woman.
Ah,
And I'm saying, because people say, well, you can't meet beautiful women online. Did you meet her online?
I sure did, man. We met, but
Yeah.
we met initially in 2008.
okay.
Hold on, Kev. All right. We met initially in 2008, and it wasn't a big love connection, man. We were just friends and ended up being friends on Facebook. And at that time, I was traveling a lot to Colombia, and so I had a lot of international ladies on my Facebook, but most of them I had never met. The majority of them I had never met. And they would always comment and stuff like that. And I would just comment back and stuff. And she saw that as I was a player. So she just ghosted me for like 5 years, man. But but we
Yeah.
have reconnected, and that was like 2008. We reconnected in 2015, early like January of 2015, and by September I was here. So that's kind of
Yeah.
the story in a nutshell. But
Yeah, but we do have that video on our channel called "The
player and
Player and
scam,
the Scammer."
because I
That's
thought she was a
Oh,
scammer.
okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought she was a scammer, to be honest. So
yeah.
and she thought I was
Yeah.
a player.
She's a very attractive woman. See, you really uh, but remember, you don't get lucky over here. You can get unlucky. So
That's true.
they can certainly get unlucky. Filipinos can get unlucky, but we can't. John, so you're single, John. You're single. You don't date or anything.
Well, I think I enjoy my company and have for a long time and date periodically. It's not the big focus of my life. I have a great fortune of having neighbors that are women, and I enjoy their company, enjoy going out. They're gringas. So we could go out and do things, and I get that. But no, not so much. And I got to tell you, I'm not a drinker. Used to be, but I just found out it's not my friend. And so this is a tourist area. This is a fishing village, if you will. And most of the activities are people coming down here and packing in a whole bunch of time in a 24-hour period. And most of that is pounding down as much booze as they possibly can. That's fine, but it's not for me. I don't like the way I feel. And that's the social environment. We do have a big expat community here. We have an American Legion down here. And I don't know if you've ever been in one, but the beers are cheap. And the same guy sitting on a stool has probably been there a year or two later. That's not the way I want to live my life. I've gone out on a few dates and met incredible quality of women. But you know what? I'm nothing like their culture. I'm a gringo that's been divorced for 40 years, set in my ways. I'm not going to change. They know I'm not going to get married. I don't want to raise their kids. I don't want to raise their grandkids. It's just me, man. And that's the way it's probably always going to be. And I'm okay with that.
So what's the pros, just in a general way, what's the pros of living there? Of course, the cost of living, the weather, you said. What else?
Are you talking to me now?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. I mentioned to you that I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled vet, which is 30% is nothing. My life is great, but I'm an hour away from the border. If something were to happen, and at 65, it's just a matter of time that something happens. I'm at the border in an ambulance. The VA has been the best for me ever. They fixed me up when I got wounded. It was great care. I see them once a year, amazing care. And now, of course, I get Medicare. I've never used it. It's amazing. If you've got some small issues here, you can go to a doctor. The last time it cost me $3. I had a little sciatica, cost me $3. She sent me right next door to the pharmacy. They gave me what I needed. I walked right back in. She gave me the shots. And for 3 days in a row, I'd give her $3. She'd give me the shot. I'm gone. The medical care, it's not world renowned. If something happens, you can be in trouble, but you're close enough that anything cataclysmic like a heart attack, stroke, things like that, you're right there on the United States border. And can
What
get
about
taken care
food, John? How's the food? I love Mexican food.
One of your listeners there mentioned the Mexican food, and my channel. I'm just a rank amateur. I don't know that I ever aspired to become monetized. Something to do. But what I try to do is get on my bicycle, and you can get anywhere in this town on a bicycle or my quad, and try to get to a different dollar taco stand. So, and then, maybe take a few pictures, Instagram it, describe what it is that I'm eating. Maybe people will like it, maybe they won't like it. Go give them a try. The unfortunate problem down here is because it's a tourist town. There's plenty of restaurants that charge tourist prices. You're going to go in and pay $20-$30 for, a hamburger, a pizza, or whatever. Even if I was in the Philippines and I've been there before, I'd be eating out on the street. That's my kind of food. That's what I like. I like the street taco, the mole. Mexicans got amazing food.
Yeah. Let me read this from Sean Statzer. He says, Kumasta. He says, I'm giving a shout out to my longtime girlfriend, Rosalia. He says, after 5 years and over $5,000 later, wow, she got her annulment papers today.
Whoa.
We're getting married in less than 4 months. See, I'd like to have him come on here just to discuss that, because that's a long time, guys. Anybody that tells me that I don't talk about dealing with married women over here, I do. I tell you, it's long, it's costly, and you're taking a chance. Hell, he says they're getting married in 4 months, but she's got her freedom now. She could meet somebody else and run off. But let me ask you, Stephen, and then I ask Bea, what are some of the unforeseen problems that you run into over here, Stephen, that you never saw coming when you moved
Well,
over here?
Just for instance, we came in, we were getting all set and ready to come on the live, and our power went out. So things like that, it gets frustrating, but that we're not quite used to that lifestyle in the States generally, at least at the time that I left, because now I'm seeing they're having some same issues like this, like we are in my hometown of New Orleans. The power is going out for 18 hours and stuff like that. So, but I think the biggest obstacle I had once I got out that honeymoon period and you start living just the normal life, it's just the little things that aggravate you, and it does build up, but
Yeah.
but you just got to put yourself in check, because you're thinking, why am I getting aggravated? I could go like you're doing, Calvin. I could go out on the beach, and just relax. The life you think is stressful, but it's much less stressful than living in the USA. So just little things like that I had to overcome, but nothing major. My experience has been really good.
Yeah. What about you, Bea? Because I'm pretty sure you had some Filipino men come knocking on your door before you met Stephen.
Yeah.
What's it like being married to a foreigner? I mean, there's some things I'm pretty sure you had to get used to.
Yeah, that's true. Like having the same mindset as having a partner with a Filipino before, you're kind of in the same wavelength, if I say, and then having a Stephen as a husband, being together for 8 years already. I had to get used to, because he's ex-military, so he's always like too much attention to details. So I had to get used to that, and we had a lot of like misunderstandings about that before, because for me, I like things done right away, and he would like even the little details, he would like, we need to do this again, or this is not right, things like that. So that's the major adjustment on my end. And of course, I need to make sure that he is always comfortable wherever we are, because he's not used to like the heat or the noise, and that's just something normal in the Philippines. So I had to make adjustments on that, like have installed our AC right here in front of us in the
Right.
downstairs. So all of the things that he is used to in culture and comfort in the US, I had to make sure that he has that here, um, you know, as much
Yeah.
as we can. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, do you encourage your friends and family to speak English when he's around? Because one thing that drives us crazy, and it's just, it's us. It's not you. You're in your own country. You should speak your own language. But you'll be sitting there, and everybody can speak English, but they won't speak English. They're speaking to each other like birthday parties and weddings, and you're just sitting there like, well, I didn't take my Messiah lessons today or whatever it is.
Cal, let me drop into that. I don't mind sitting there and just being quiet, man. I'm in the zone. I don't need a lot of conversation, but her family does engage with me a lot, and it works. You know, everybody in her family can speak English, you know, at some level. I think Bea speaks the best. She has 5 brothers, by the way, and so she speaks the
Yeah.
best out of all her brothers.
Well,
But
I noticed that women over here speak better English than men. Why
yeah,
is that, Leah? Why is that? Is that because I don't
Um,
know? What? Tell me.
I'm not really sure about that, but um, like
Is it a macho thing where the men say, I'm gonna speak Tagalog, I'm gonna speak Ilongo, I ain't speaking English? I don't know, but it seems like when I go, because people always ask me, hey, Cal, why don't you interview some men, Filipino men, and see what they think? But man,
they
they won't speak English. They
no.
won't speak English. They're
You know
shy.
that is
I've never thought of that.
that's true,
Yeah.
Cal. Let me just shout out to Big Diesel right quick. Yeah, just email us at our site, man, and I'll be happy to help you out with starting a business in the Philippines because we are considering doing that. As
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's you know we started a business from scratch and ran it, and you know it was pretty successful. So just go to our page and hit up an email. Our email is in our page,
Mhm.
our YouTube channel. So
John,
Cal, I think the thing is because if you notice, the women here are like really the core of this society. I mean, they do work. They do take care of the house, but they work. So I think maybe the women might be a little bit more, um, enticed to learn English to get better working positions. Would you
Yes.
think that?
Yes, because me growing up, it's always been kind of talked upon that women, if you know English, it's like your pathway to to the world. So women are much more kind of wanted to educate themselves, to learn to speak, and a lot there. I don't have the statistics, but there are a lot of women, my friends, who are working abroad, and it's important
yeah.
how to speak. So yes, that's it, I
What's
guess.
1 out of 10? 1 out of 10. It's 10 million OFWs, which are considered heroes over here. They send back billions of pesos every year. It's like 10% of the gross national product.
Mhm.
Now, let me ask you something, John. Can foreigners own land in Mexico?
Say that again.
Can foreigners own land in Mexico?
No, it's they can lease it. I think it's for 99 years. They can get a condo, and they wind up setting up a trust, and then the trust is the one that owns the condo. The land is the same; it's a trust, and then they can get a lease for 99 years. They can't be on the beach. That's belongs to
Yeah.
everybody in Mexico.
Now, can foreigners own land in America?
Well, yeah, they do. The Japanese. I
No,
mean,
I mean, do you have to become a citizen and then own it?
no,
No.
no. Back in the 90s, late 80s, the Japanese were buying up everything, and lost their shirts because the real estate prices crashed. But in the United States, anybody can go in and buy a piece of property if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, is the United States the only place where foreigners can buy land? Are we that stupid over there? Or what's going on? Just because most countries, foreigners can't buy land. I mean, they can't own it. Like over here, I mean, I can buy it, but I can't own it. I mean, I
Well,
bought something.
let me tell you something. There's been some trouble with people that have tried to own condos and land here. You never really know what's going on, what the government's going to do, what corruption is going to do. Oh, sorry, the guy that sold that to you really didn't own it. I own it. You have to leave. Thanks for putting $30,000 into the upgrades. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong if you try to buy something or own something down here.
Yeah, and I try to tell guys that same thing in the Philippines. Land disputes are some of the top reasons people get killed over here.
It's true.
You better make sure that deed is free and clear, because I don't fool with these mother deeds over here and all that, where everybody in the family has to sign off, because if somebody may not show up, and then the minute you spend all that money and everything, and then here comes somebody and says, "Nah, we still own it." It was a foreigner in Sapaway, right across from where I live in San Carlos City. He was killed over a land dispute, but it was between him and his wife. They split up, and hell, he wanted his part of the land, but she said it'd be cheaper to get him killed, and that's what happened. So you got to be careful, man. When you're dealing. That's why when I built the house and lot, I gave it to Maryland. I'm following advice from John. He says better. It's better to be worth more alive than dead. So that house and lot is hers, and she knows it. So you don't have to kill me to own it. It's already yours. That's what the point I'm making. See, but somebody asked the question, Stephen, and Bea, you can chime into this. What's the dating scene like in Iloilo? Do you see a lot of foreigners with Filipinas?
Yeah, I think that was Billy, because I noticed that on the screen there. Iloilo is kind of a different animal than you would say like Dumaguete or Cebu or Manila. I find it to be a very working class city. And so the people here are serious. I've been here, almost 5 years in Iloilo. I don't think I've ever seen a red light district. There's not like bars that are infamous for bar girls. So the foreigners that you do see are either just coming in for a minute to check it out. But the ones that live here are generally married or have a partner, and they're just living quiet lives, man. You barely see, there's no infamous coffee house to go hang out in where you'd run into a lot of foreigners. The way we get together is just by, hey, let's get together for lunch or something. But that even rarely happens. So the dating, if you want a serious woman, I think your odds are high here. But you're going to have to kind of work for it. They're just not a place where there's a bunch of women hanging out here in Iloilo City. So.
But Iloilo has always been voted the most progressive city in the Philippines.
It is.
For so many years. It being open-minded, growing. It really looks like a modern Western city when you go by that SM Mall and all of that. That Boulevard and all those places. Because I love Iloilo.
When was the last time you were here, Cal?
It had to have been. It was 2022. No, 2023 actually. But I was only coming from Boracay, and I stopped in Iloilo and spent the night there. But
okay, well, because I'm telling you, just in a few years we've been here. We came in 2018. Yeah, 2018. The whole skyline has changed. The sky, the viewpoints from different high areas. Completely different than it was. I mean, there are buildings popping up all over the place. There are areas that are kind of, it's like the birth of a star that's turning into BGC. And so there, a lot of condos coming up, big subdivisions all around the city that are coming up with all the conveniences built into the subdivision. So it really is a progressive city. It's super clean. I've never seen
it is.
Yeah. So the dating, he answered.
The dating. You can find a woman here, but you have to build up to it. They're not going to come falling in your lap in Iloilo. Not that I know of, but I've never had.
I have a question about dating in the Philippines, if I can ask.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, what are professional ladies doing? Doctors, engineers, lawyers? Do they mostly stay with Filipinos that are in the same type of professional careers as they are?
Yes, I would answer that. Yes, they do. They kind of like, I guess just like any other countries, that they kind of go where their level would be, for your like an average salary man or woman, you kind of go into that, that realm as well. So yes, kind of like a hierarchy as well. with that.
but see, here's the thing, kind of back that up, John. This is what I don't like about American men. We think we can come over and get any woman we want, right? So you come out, you got a high school education, but you want to come over here and date an engineer or a doctor. Because that's what they always say. They're like, well, why don't y'all go after the professional women? Well, hell, Maryland's got a 4-year college degree. She's a bookkeeper. Isn't that a professional woman?
Yeah.
But they say, oh, they want you to come over here and marry a doctor. Well, hell, I'm not a doctor. What are we going to talk about? I mean, now Maryland has a cousin who she just passed she just finished her residency. She's a doctor. She was dating a foreigner. Now, what he was doing, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he was probably way up there as a doctor or something. I mean, but that's the arrogance that we have when we come over here. We think we can just have any woman over here. It's not true. You got to stay on your level when you come over here. Same when you were talking about the cost of living. You can do it over here, but we bring our consumerism with us. So I've got a friend who's got two 65-inch TVs in his condominium, one in the living room and one in the bedroom. And the bedroom and the living room is maybe 2 meters apart. And I'm like, but that's just, that's his money if he wants to do it. I don't have a TV in here. I don't need one. But if you're willing to make the sacrifices, we waste a lot of money over in America. So you can waste it over here, and they'll let you do it too. But after you've been here for a while, and I'm pretty sure you've been there for, you said 9 years, you've become acclimated. You've assimilated. You know your way around. There's no sense in buying a Harley Davidson over here unless that's what you want. But it's easy for me to spend $750 here, and I don't have to live like a local. They say this is not a shack. This is a nice place right here. But I just wanted to throw that out there because guys always say that, oh, y'all just go over there and date the poor women. Look at Bea. Did you go to college, Bea?
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in business
Thank you.
management. Yeah. And I'm actually
Thank you.
working from home right now. I'm working as an Amazon account manager. So, yeah, life's good.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They think we just come over and take advantage. Now, are there women like that? Yeah, but one of my guests said something so profound. He said, the only difference is maybe the reason the girl didn't go to college, not because she's not as intelligent as you. Maybe her family couldn't afford to send her to college.
That's
That's
Exactly.
true.
all that is. The
Yeah.
wheel of life stopped off and let you off in America and let her off in the Philippines. But some of the brightest, most intelligent women over here, my son's mother is one of them. I want to give her a shout out. She just got approved for Habitat for Humanity house, 3-bedroom house in North Carolina. She's as smart, as intelligent as any woman who has a college degree. She just couldn't afford to go to college. Now she's over in America living her dream, living the American dream, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to put that out there.
How that's true with women not affording college, the family can afford. But for me, I actually worked and studied at the same time, so that I could have that education. Yeah, there's a lot of Filipinas like that, the same situation like that. But everyone has their own story of how they've struggled to get that education, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a degree, that you're not smart or intelligent.
Absolutely. And I always like to hear it straight from the Filipina anyway. You know, that's one thing that's the reason why I'm starting to have Marilyn on a lot more of my videos now. I want her to say it because when I say it doesn't carry any weight. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
when Bea says it or Marilyn says it, it carries weight.
Yeah.
But
You can't dispute it.
yeah, you can't
It's the real
dispute it.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
I
it's the
think a lot more Filipinos should do that. Like if you're married to a foreigner, you should be able to let all of the expats know about us, the reality about us, because there's a lot of stereotyping happening with Filipinas. So don't just believe what you
yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
And I will say it's a lot of stereotyping that goes on with foreigners too.
Mm.
See, it's the same thing, but they think the Filipinos and the Philippines is from outer space. They've got certain stereotypes that they think about us, just like we have certain ones about them. I mean, it's not always one-sided. But yeah, that's a good point. But most people, once you come over and you boots on the ground, you're going to see a whole different place than what you've been hearing about your whole life. That's what happened to me. I couldn't believe it when I got over. I was like, wow, some of these beaches over here should be must-see places. Some of the places in the Philippines should be internationally known, but it's crickets. Nobody even comes there.
It's because no one's on YouTube talking about them. They're talking about coming over and dating girls.
Right.
That's become the gross national product of the Philippines.
That always has been. But
it has, and that's why it's a bit confusing to me. I'll just give you a small anecdote. I was in the service, and I was in the Philippines in 1981, and walked out on Magsaysay Street in Subic Bay, and it blows your mind. A kid from Indiana seeing this madness, and Angeles was the same, and that's what you take with you, as that's the way things are. And so when I ask you about the disparity between people that have a higher education, it doesn't make them better by no means, but isn't that why we date people? We find something in common with them, that we can discuss literature or current events, or there's only so much time you're going to spend having fun. So Calvin, what is it that you had in common with your wife now that brought you together?
Fitness. We both love to read. We both love the same music. The sex is great. It's a lot, really. But what I'm saying to you is that's just a small, tiny part of the Philippines that you're saying. And I understand what you're saying, John. This is what people think. They think the Philippines is only Subic Bay, Angeles City, Manila. They have no clue. They've never been to Mindanao. They've never even been to Cebu or Iloilo or Bacala and all of that. So they got this small little tiny perspective of the Philippines, and they paint the whole Philippines.
Right.
Man, I was shocked when I came over here at the level of comfort. You can live the same lifestyle here that you do in America, but you're going to have to pay for it. But you can certainly do it. The infrastructure here is good enough for me. I'm not trying to build an atomic bomb, okay? But I've got 5G PLDT. I've got, good cable and different things, aircon. I've got everything, all the creature comforts. But they always say the infrastructure, it's a lot to be desired. But that's why I like the Philippines. It has so much more room to grow. Mm-hmm. Thailand, the United States, these places are bursting at the seams. There's no more growth. The Philippines is like getting in on the bottom floor of a great stock, getting in there early when Coca-Cola was $2 for stock. See, if you come over and you buy real estate now, you build a house now, you get established now, who's to say what 10 years down the line is going to be? That little house I built over there is already 25%. It's already worth 25% more than it was last year. See?
Yeah, real estate here is crazy.
Matter of fact, I forgot to ask you that.
I'm sorry, what?
What type of business did you and Bea own?
Oh, we started a business called Big and Easy Lemonade, and we were selling lemonade in pretty much every major mall that was around us. That's what ended up having us move into Iloilo, is because we didn't have any more room to expand in Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Mm-hmm. But people kind of sometimes you think about lemonade and they chuckle, but lemonade is we made our first year in our very first kiosk. a year and a day, we cleared $100,000, gross.
$100,000 or pesos?
Dollars, brother.
Yes.
Wow.
Gross though.
5.5 million gross.
Oh my
Selling
God.
lemonade at 55
Peso.
pesos for a 22-ounce cup. But
That's
it was
amazing.
more to it than that. You got to have
Yeah.
a good product. And we built a professionally imaged franchise. And what Bea was talking about earlier, all that attention to detail, that's where it really kicked in, because I was running that business like an American would run it. She was trying to run it like a Filipino would run it, but I wasn't having that.
Yeah.
But we brought it to another level, and it was,
that's a great point.
expanding. It was expanding pretty well. Our next, we were trying to conquer Iloilo and then Bacolod and then Cebu, but the pandemic stopped us. We shut it all down because there was no way to sustain. We had 8 locations and we couldn't sustain them.
Yeah.
That would have been like coming out of my pocket, all that rent, because you weren't having money coming in for like 2 years. So, so we shut it down, and we may get it back going. We're thinking about getting it back. Learned a lot of lessons along the way, but would
it be a good idea to restart it where you began, where people know your product?
We're trying to get back in that mall, and because that's hindsight, that particular location was never a loser. I mean, even the day we shut down, I think we sold 200 and something cups. When they shut down the day of the pandemic, and it was already trending to shut down, and we still hit over 200 cups in that particular day. But once it was cut off, it shut down for about 3 months completely. And then when malls wanted us to come back, they weren't letting anybody in the mall. So if there's nobody in the mall, nobody was just going to come in there and buy a lemonade and take it out. So, and they were only willing to take it down like 30% discount, and you still had to pay utilities and stuff. And it just didn't make sense. But
let me read this real quick, because I know I said something, but I wasn't really talking to him. I was talking to everybody. When you deal with married women over here, guys, it's a long process, that annulment, and it's very expensive. And you're taking a chance. He says, I tested her to the point where it would be pushing her if I continued. We are certainly aware of her freedom, but at some point you must develop trust. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, because a guy told me the other day, he's coming over here and the 2 women he's met are both married. I'm saying, dude, it's too many women over here for you to go through that. I would not do it, guys. I would not date a married woman over here. I don't care how beautiful she is. 5 years? I don't have 5 years. I'm in the 4th quarter of my life. I'm trying to enjoy it now, and then you don't know what that husband, what's in his mind. You don't know, guys. Okay, she's not going to tell you the full truth. She's going to tell you her side to make her look good like anybody else. She's not going to tell you his side. He may still be in love. Okay, don't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'd have to throw her back. I'm sorry.
It is complicated. I'll second that, Calvin, because I've seen a lot of complicated relationships revolved around a girl being married. And I mean, some people say you can't help who to fall in love with and stuff, but I think guys get into that situation without realizing how difficult it is, that you can't really get divorced here. So it does take years and years. Yeah, it takes years. So unless you're willing to take all of those chances, and not to say it can't happen, but it is a risk. It is.
It's a big risk. I mean, you say you can't tell who to fall in love with. Yeah, somebody tells me, well, I'm married.
Yeah, you can make that decision. Yeah,
that's a red flag. I'm like, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks.
That's where you got to cut it. Yeah, that's where you got to cut it right in the beginning, because if you start let me just see where this goes, you're going to be in too deep before you know it. So.
Well, her being married kind of gives you the perfect excuse not to want to marry her.
That's right.
She's a perpetual girlfriend.
Absolutely. See, but guys don't think like that. We bring our Western thinking
Oh,
over here. We want to marry her because we want to control her. We want her to be ours. That great point, John. That would be the only good thing to come over here and date a married woman. You don't have to worry about getting married.
Yeah, if
But,
you don't want to
but
get married.
what I'm thinking is, I'm going to wait 5 years. I'm going to spend all this money. She's going to be mine. Well, she's yours anyway. She's not going anywhere. You don't have to deal with the visa. You don't have to do anything, guys. So, yeah, let me back off that and say, yeah, there are some advantages to dealing with married women over here. Yeah. And thank you, John, for bringing that point up.
So I've got a question about Social Security and widows benefits. Have you gentlemen researched what's going to happen to a young woman that's maybe 30 years younger than you or other guys out there? The research I did says that they're not allowed to claim Social Security benefits till they're 60 years old from their deceased spouse, which would mean that they've got 30 years to live until they're able to get those Social Security benefits. And they can't marry before 60 or they're going to lose those widows benefits. Is that a consideration for people getting together? And do the older gentlemen that are dating the younger girls, do they think that Social Security widows benefits is going to be something that they're gifting their lady?
Well, some guys do, and this is why I built the house and lot. Sometimes you have to have that acts as my life insurance policy, okay? Because now with that house, with the lot, with the guest house, with the big gate and all that, she's looking at like 2.5 million pesos. That's lifetime money for just the average Filipino. Marilyn was earning about 7,500 pesos a month. On a good month, she maybe earned 15,000. Okay, so that 2.5 million probably should last her for the rest of her life. But you're right; it's something that I don't know if a lot of people even contemplate. They never think about it. Because John, when he died, he didn't have anything in place for his girlfriend. He died, and now she's dating another foreigner. That's the game plan. You hook up with another foreigner. But it is something that I thought about, and I'm pretty sure Stephen has thought about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And any decent human being would think about. But that's a great question.
I've seen in some Facebook groups I'm in with expats, some guys will pass away, man, and their significant other, I'm not sure if they're a wife or whatnot, they can't even get into the computer. They don't have any access to financial things. And if, I mean, my opinion, I mean, they are set if something happens to me, because I'm 60 and she's 34, 35. Almost 35 in a month. But so I know, as a responsibility as a husband, I need to take care of her so that she won't be in a desperate situation when I pass away. But some of those guys, man, they pass away and their significant partner doesn't know anything. They have no information, no contact back home. They're broke, no access to money, nothing. And that's
where Sean Statzer, he says, at some point trust has to kick in, and I agree with him. At some point, you got to trust the lady. Merlin's got my pen, but hell,
there too.
She don't got my card. I mean, I trust her. I know she's not going to go in there and take everything I got. I mean, why would she cut off her nose to spite her face? She's not going to do that because I trust her.
They knew my pen better than before. I would always forget it, man. She knew it.
Yep.
Thanks, Al. But I had that trust in her, man. I mean, she has access to everything, but I trust her with everything. So, it's no doubt in my mind that she's gonna, I don't know, do something malicious with access to money or records or anything like that. So
but I will say, at least have some skins in the game, John. We have a child together. And even though Booby is a U.S. citizen, I'm sure she's going to grow up here at least till she's 18. So I wanted to make sure she had a place to stay. Okay, and then if something does happen to me, Maryland doesn't have to go around. She can just go in the ATM and get the money out she needs. You know, but if you're married, I just wouldn't come over here because you got guys that are coming over here. They're building houses, they're buying land, they're doing all kind of crazy stuff. They're not married to the woman. They don't have children. And I don't get that, man. I don't care, man. You can be it's that's irresponsible, man. I'm sorry. You can get mad all you want.
One of the things I did when I was up in the United States is I set up a trust and a living will that, everything's in that trust, bank accounts, automobiles, real estate, stocks, whatever. It's in the trust, and it will designate who is to get what and avoid probate. Down here in Mexico, there's a business that you can designate to handle your burial, if you will, or your cremation. They get all the paperwork together. They make the arrangements to get you transported back to the United States. Nobody has to do anything. Is there a program like that in the Philippines that when, our older brothers, pass on, is there a fiduciary that gets involved in handling these things? Or do they just wind up sitting in a morgue somewhere?
Well, a lot of times, people think that the embassy is going to do that for them, but it doesn't. The embassy only does a very little for you. They may point you in a direction to where you can get cremated or get the body repatriated, but they're not going to do it for you. There's a lot of money involved in that. But what happens is most of the time, the foreigner gets cremated, just like John did. I've seen several of them. The guy came over here. He got married. Hell, he had a heart attack on the wedding night. They're getting it on. And, she's 21. He's 57. He has a heart attack and dies. Well, she went on Facebook and everything, asked for money. She got the money. She just cremated him. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure she told the family back home, but that's usually the extent of it. Unless, you got money it's expensive. It costs a whole lot more for a dead body to fly back to America than a live body.
Yeah.
It's something like $7,000 the last time I checked. But that's what communities like this would be good for. See, John, you're hitting on a lot of things, but we won't work together. Filipinos overseas work together, man. That's why I got the idea for the community. They do stuff for each other over there in America that we wouldn't think about doing over here. If I tried to borrow $20 from over here from an American, man, I'd catch hell. That's just how it is, man. We're a different breed, man. Americans, we're unicorns, man. We just won't stick together now. If something like George Floyd happens over there, if the enemy of my enemy is my friend, if the police does something, yeah, we'll come together. We'll raise $13 million for his family. But if I run out of money over here in the Philippines, y'all gonna laugh at me and say you should have had a better plan, dummy. They're certainly not going to help repatriate my body back home. But yeah, that's a great. You're bringing up a lot of great points. But Filipinos, they do that. My wife, when we split up, man, and don't you know, when she went back to America, she had no place to stay, no job. But that didn't stop her from going back to America because she had that community waiting. Let her stay there, got her job, probably introduced her to the man that she's living with now. Okay? They will do that, but we're not going to do it. You show up over here with no money, we're going to slam the door in your damn face. I'm just being honest. Okay? Now, what kind of expat community do y'all have in Iloilo, Stephen?
Well, there are a lot of expats here, but like I said earlier, that It's a quiet.
Scattered.
They move quietly, man. I see more expats at the gym than I do anywhere, even when I go to the mall. And sometimes you will see, but I'm talking about the ones that actually live here. I see them at the gym, but not at the malls or coffee shops. Most of the time, you're going to be around Filipinos. So for a lot of expats that are considering Iloilo, you have to be real comfortable to live amongst Filipinos and not have many expats around. Now, like I said, you do make friends and you can always get together. You make an arrangement to get together, but you're not going to just walk into a coffee shop every morning and see the same people. And it's just going to be Filipino.
See, that's why it's a great idea to have that meet and greet in Iloilo, because there's a lot of expats there, and in Bacala. They'll come over from Bacala because how long boat ride is that? 45 minutes or something?
Yes.
Yeah, that little fast cat. You know, Cal, at the meet and greet in Cebu, in the 8 years I've been here, I've never been around that many expats in 8 years. Yeah. So, never had that opportunity to speak that much English, within a couple of hours we were there. That just goes to show you, there are a lot of tourists in Puerto Princesa. There were a few little expats groups we used to kind of hang around with in Puerto, but moving here, we both didn't know anybody. They didn't know anybody, I didn't know anybody. So we had to build our friends over the years. So
now, how often do y'all go back to Palawan? Because I noticed that when I take Maryland out of San Carlos City, she's lost. She don't know where to go. It's like she's the foreigner and I'm the Filipino.
No, man. I mean, she will figure out how to get around. Yeah. I mean, she knows how to get around Iloilo better than me. And, I relied on her to learn the city myself. But it didn't intimidate her, man, because we came here for business. We had a focus. Yeah, we were moving 2 locations into SM. We immediately got embraced by the business community, so we're meeting a lot of business owners and things like that. So we, college, she mentored college students, through the business and stuff like that. So we, it wasn't hard for her to come out of Puerto Princesa. Now, did she really like it? Not really. I can let her answer.
Yeah. So
my question was, when's the last time y'all visited? How often do y'all visit?
December
for Christmas.
December. Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's actually been back more than me because most of the time, a few times she went back. I couldn't go for some reason or another, or we have a bunch of animals. I just stayed to take care of them. But we all went back for Christmas vacation, and we'll probably be going back pretty soon again.
W Secrets to Success vlog. Thanks for that super chat. He said, "Great point. College degrees doesn't automatically translate to money. That's fact. I've got a brother who's got a PhD in educational psychology, whatever that is, and he can't even get a job, but he's got that degree. And anybody that tells him he's a doctor, I'm Doctor." I'm not going to say his name because he'll think I'm picking on him, but I've out-earned him, and I've got 1 semester of college, and I've out-earned him my entire life. Am I saying college isn't important? No, because there's more to going to college than getting a degree. He probably has more influential friends than me by going to college. Okay, but as far as money's concerned, no. And he's a disabled veteran too. That's how he ended up getting a job. The VA. He worked for the VA.
And it's weird dynamic here because you'll find that a lot of, even the little mall kiosks, man, their requirements are college degrees. A lot of girls that are working, standing around in SM waiting to help people for whatever product area you're in, they all have college degrees. So it's even more true, I think, in the Philippines. But a lot of we hired girls that weren't in college, right? Yeah, that wasn't a requirement for our business. We we were doing things a little differently. But a lot of businesses here, you have to have a 4-year degree to work a mall kiosk serving popcorn or something. So
But see, even the big corporations now, you know how people they brag on their children's grades. Oh, you got straight A's. They're not even looking at that. They're looking at your problem solving, your critical thinking skills.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't even have to have a degree. A lot of these big time computer nuts and all this, they've never been to college. Look at uh, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and the guy that owns Dell Computers. I mean, you can keep going on and on, man. It doesn't translate into money, and at the same time, some of the richest people in the world have no college degree. But I'm not saying don't get a college degree. I'm just saying it's not necessary. I mean, it's your life if you want to do it. Some people use it as a status symbol, but over here, you really need one. It's very, very competitive.
Mm.
In
Mm.
America, it's this whole form of capitalism we've got over there, where you don't need a college degree. Hell, you don't even need a high school diploma to get an opportunity over there. But W Secrets to Success, thanks for that super chat. He said it comes down to how you apply what you've learned. So I'm gonna say earn money, not make money, because only people who make money, W Secrets to Success, work for the U.S. Mint. Everybody else has to earn it. Is that right, John?
I guess.
Not too many. If you start making money, they'll lock you up in America, right?
Yes.
But I think y'all know what he's talking about. Yeah. But over here it's competitive. So when if you go to a pancake house, that waitress that's waiting on you, she graduated from college. They're not just going to hire you out the street. It's really education is very, very important here. Um, any edge that you got over here, and Bear can tell you better than me.
Mm.
It's very competitive here, right?
It is, and I agree with the people saying that it's really about the skills and your problem solving skills. There's more to being successful with, um, being successful here more than your college degree. Because I have seen also a lot of friends who are really good at strategies in life, like, they don't have college degree, but they are very successful. They, they use their life experiences and hardships to really learn and push forward in life, so yes, um, I would say that Filipinos are um, a lot of Filipinos are successful because of their focus in life, that they want to be successful even if they don't have a college degree.
Yeah. If the opportunity is there, it's just been proven. I was reading an article yesterday. Filipinos do very well financially in America. Okay,
It's
because
true.
the opportunities there. See, but it's just a lack of opportunity over here. That's all it is.
Well,
Yes, that's
I want to give you a little juxtaposition to that. That, getting a degree isn't just waiting it out for 4 years and then doing your dissertation thesis or whatever. It's about getting up every day and studying, doing the work, going through some hard times. You just spent 4 years of trials and tribulations that will earn that in itself earns you something. I have a degree in biology,
Yeah.
but right after that, I became a Navy lieutenant, then was in the intelligence industry and spent my life as a private investigator after that. Do nothing with biology, nothing. But,
Right.
I was nobody helping me, nobody helping Filipinas, nobody helping a lot of people. You get up every day, you go to school, you learn that, you work it out, you bust it out, it's just part of making your bones, and you grow as a
mhm.
result of doing that. You may not use it, but you
yeah.
use what it took to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's
that's the
true.
same thing with the School of Hard Knocks, though. I did all of that too.
Yeah.
And then I took a side job smoking crack. So that gave me even more experiences and more heartaches, John, that I broke through. So I said, hell, when I stopped drinking, May the 13th will be 25 years. I haven't had a drink, any manner, mood altering chemical. It's probably my biggest achievement. But when I did that, I said, there's nothing I can't do.
That's
if I
right.
can get out of bed. So, it's some things that, like I said, I don't discourage people from going to college. I'd say it is an advantage if you're able to do it. But if you're not able to do it, don't get down on yourself. Because I've had a great life without a college degree, man. I'm telling you, I've never had a good job. I've only had great jobs. When DuPont Chemicals was hiring back in the early 90s, 5,000 applicants, many with college degrees, many with advanced degrees. I was one of the 24 people they hired because of my critical thinking skills, because of my problem solving skills. So I'm not knocking John. I'm not knocking college graduates, but he's right. It doesn't translate into money though. A lot of times. Now Al Rogan says, yeah, but all those people are hard college degrees. No, they don't. Most of the people you see working for Google and all those places, a lot of them are high schoolers in their mother's basement programming these computers and creating these apps. They never stepped one foot in college. Now, running the companies, yeah. Now, he says U.S. government made college cheap, guaranteed loans, so everybody went. But it inflated cost and lowered the value of degrees. Do you agree with that, John?
Well, again, if I step back and say that I do nothing with my degree at all, it was all about the work that I had to put to get from point A to point B. We've got another veteran right here. He knows the value of getting up every day, doing things that you don't really want to do. But when it's all done, you got that behind you. You're stronger. It's what you have to do to get it as much as getting it.
Yeah. It's true because I was an advertising marketing major in college. Graduated from college, I went into naval aviation side. Okay, I got out of that. All of a sudden, the reason why our business also was successful is because of my advertising marketing background and my wife's business background. So it came full circle. But I'm in the Navy. It had nothing to do with flying planes or anything like that. It was just but that routine, that going through the trials, I think I was well prepared to go in the Navy. Even pledging a fraternity helped me go through that hazing, that early hazing. Marine Corps drill instructors in my head. It that helped me. And I think if I didn't have that experience, I would, that haul I did in the Navy would have been pretty hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
now,
so I think
you have a business plan? Did you have a real business plan?
With our business?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fluid from the time we.
No, I mean, did you have it? You know how in America you have to have a business plan. If you go to the bank,
well, that's just it, Cal.
Money.
We didn't have to go to the bank. We didn't go to the bank.
Right, but that's not what I'm saying. But you still have to have a business plan.
You're a thinker. You're a
planner. Make that work, right?
Well, like I said, it was fluid from the concept of our idea through it. We were planning those phases through. Yeah. Now, to be honest, initially I thought I'd be happy if we make $400 a month. If we could clear $400 a month, that would be great. But it just, because of the preparation and the work that we put into it, because I mean, we worked, man, from the time we got married. Our entire days were.
Did you write it down, or was you working all from here?
I'm in my head, man. I'm in my head. I didn't, and my wife is like, we need to write down. And I'm like, it's all in my head. I don't need to write it down.
Yeah, but it's important to write them down, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to dispute that, but I didn't write any.
The very first location we had, because we don't know like how the whole business would go. We don't have any like business plan or
Wow.
what. Yeah. So after all
Yeah.
of the learnings that we acquired from going through the process and the experience, we finally got okay. So this is gonna be an SOP. This is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah,
so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
created from experience.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See that's what I'm getting at, because when I went to a seminar, it was 6 weeks where they teach you how to write a business plan. And one thing was, okay, what if your major product isn't selling? What are
Mhm.
you going to do to earn the money to pay the bank, the loan? So you have to come up with a plan B. What about your competition? What about the demographic? Who's going to buy your product? See,
Mhm.
I know everybody has a lot of good ideas, man, and they go broke
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
they don't have a real good business plan.
yeah. You
But
really,
you were fortunate.
yeah, and because I mean, because my major was marketing and advertising, I knew about demographics, I knew about location, because initially the mall wanted to put us in certain areas, and I'm like, no way, we're just not even going to do it. And then they just happened to put us in a gold mine area. But
Yeah.
so those were things that were kind of happening along the way. But you got to understand too, I'm in another country, and the business here is totally different than in the USA. So
Yeah.
I was having to learn these things along the way as well. But again, Bea had a business before in Puerto Princesa, so she had those boots on the ground.
Yeah.
She kind of knew
What
the
kind of business did you have, Bea? A
I
solid
had a
solid store?
computer
no,
shop.
No, I'm just joking.
yeah, nah, man, and that's what a lot of guys got to stay away from. These ideas. Oh, I want to come to the Philippines and open up a gelato shop.
Yeah.
Things like that aren't going to work, man. You gotta have something. And initially, to be honest, man, I thought because there were so many tourists in Puerto Princesa that was going to be a big part of our market. Well, I was wrong then, man. The Filipinos attached to our product, and they loved it. So
What kind of business did you have before, Bea?
It's a computer shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I
What
did
like
put
yeah.
a little snack bar on the side, so that's kind of sorry.
Yeah. So you were you fixing people's computers? Is that what you were doing?
No, it's actually a gaming shop.
Oh, okay. Like an internet cafe.
Yes, yeah, but it's all PlayStations.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
tried that, and we had too many damn brownouts in Zamboanga.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, that's back in 2010, no, 2012, when
mhm.
internet cafes were still big. We had a little internet cafe, but hell, that they'd have brownouts for the whole damn day, 12 hours. And I was like, well, that went up in smoke.
Now that was the
And
good thing about being in the mall because we went Robinsons and then they had built the new SM in Puerto Princesa. So the malls are gonna have always have power and
Yes.
stuff. And the great thing about it too is when you have those big brownouts, everybody goes to the mall because it's cool there.
that's
So,
right. Yeah.
so
Mm,
those
That's the
malls
secret
are always packed.
to
mm.
success, Vlog. Thanks for that super chat. And this guy, he came to visit me actually in St. Carlos City. He's a real deal. This guy lives in $1 million house over there in America. He's really, really successful, but he's real secretive too. He
Okay.
wants me to call him W. He don't even want me to call. He don't even want me to use his last name initial. But he's the real deal. He came over here, and so he says global outsourcing of skills and jobs has watered down the value of most college degrees in the U.S., especially in IT. And he would know because he works in that
Mhm.
industry. I think he's like, what's that McAtee? Is that some type of security?
Yeah,
McAfee.
McAfee.
Yeah,
McAfee, yeah.
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 And this is the type of stuff he does. And I think investing, he does
Antivirus.
make well for himself. He's a young guy, but he's too secretive. You know, do you got any of them type over there, John? They don't want to take pictures. They don't want you to interview them in Mexico, John. Do you run into those types?
Say that again.
Do you run into expats in Mexico who are who want to remain under the radar. They don't want you to take pictures. They don't want you to interview them.
Yeah, me.
Every day,
Yeah,
right?
You've got a YouTube channel.
Well, now it's again. I became acutely aware that when you retire, you better have a plan. Either you're going to put ships in a bottle or something, and you know that's my ship in a bottle. It was never meant to be anything other than, you know, a little fun and do something and learn the editing part of it, which is just so much fun. And so, you know, that's what it was. That's what it was with me. But I am by nature a reserved person, an introvert, which is very frustrating for me because when I owned an agency, I'd have to go to Chamber of Commerce events or whatever. And I'm the guy that sits in the back and watches everything and listens. And I don't really interact so much.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm shy. It's just that I've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. And I take in a whole lot more by using those 2 than the last one. And so again, part of the environment here and in many places like Cancun and Puerto Vallarta is drinking. And I'm not a drinker. I'm not going to go hang out with a bunch of people where that is the pastime. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me. So
let me ask you, are you welcome there in Mexico? You know, because, you know, in the Philippines, they're some of the most warmest, welcomest people on the planet.
Let me, I want to tell you something that's not really part of the question you asked me, but the Mexican people are just amazingly kind. We've got a railroad track, it's not too far away from here, and Mexico has a funny kind of rule that if they want to get on the trains and ride them, they can. And you've got people coming up from Guatemala and Honduras, and they ride these trains, and they're heading up towards the border, and they get off, and they stand at that railroad tracks and beg. And the only thing they've got in their entire lives is a dirty set of clothes and a blanket, and you would be hard-pressed not to see a Mexican person stop and give them money or food.
Wow.
And I think the saying goes, those with the least give the most, and that's probably true in the Philippines as well. That, you know, when you have a kindness of culture, a culture of kindness, they're not always quick to be the first one to say hello. But when I'm on my bike and I'm cruising, I make it a habit, in part because I don't really want to be all that reserved and introverted, to say hello, buenos dias, and they're quick to respond, quick. And they're not quick to anger. They're uncomfortable with confrontation. They're kind to you. It's, you know, the first question, everybody, is it dangerous? No, not at all.
Yeah. They're, you know, they have the same type of background, you know, when with that colonialism with the Spanish. But I think that the Filipinos do, but I think it goes back before Spain, because the Filipinos are the same way over here. It reminds me when I was growing up, okay, sometimes people will come to my house and they'll ask, can they wash my clothes so they can earn some money to buy food? And we'll let them. You know, even when I stayed in the squatters area during the lockdown, it was the same way. You know, when my son was born in 2012, he was premature. He stayed in the hospital 18 days down in Zamboanga, 16 in a World War II incubator. When I got the bill, it was like 300,000 pesos. I only had 250,000. It was everything I had. I could not get 1 cent from my friends and family at home, even though I was earning over $100,000 a year at home. I couldn't get 1 penny. Don't you know it was a Filipino man who was earning about $140 every month. He gave me that money. He gave me that other 50,000.
Yeah.
He didn't loan it to me. He gave it to me. Of course, I paid him back, but it still makes the hair on my arms raise up. I could not get 1 penny from them sorry suckers over there who knew I was a money-earning son of a gun. I couldn't get not 1 penny. That guy stood up and said, here, go get your wife and your son out of that hospital. He said, because every day they stay there, it's going to cost you more. And guess where they live? They live in Miagal, Iloilo right now. his whole family. That's where he's from. Okay, but let me
Right.
read this because this is something I want to talk about. Al Rogan says, I have an accounting degree. People always need to keep track of their money. This is such a great point. When I bought my first house, one of the things they told me about a budget, how to start a budget, you have to track your expenses. This is what we don't do over here. You're going to find out where you're spending your money. Okay, where you need to, rein it in and whatever. This is the problem foreigners have in the Philippines. We're way over here. We're 8,000 miles. We're not 1 hour from the border like you, John. But they don't keep track of their money. That we just spend it. We just spend till it's gone.
Yep.
We have arguments about budget, but there's probably 5 people out of the 300 people watching this who actually have a budget. How many people really have a budget?
Cal, we for a few years we tracked everything we spent on Quicken program, and we saw the areas we were overspending, and so now, I still put the whole thing in, but we were breaking down what we were paying for food, what we were paying for cleaning products, paper products like napkins, and we broke it down. And I found that a lot of our budget was going, because we have an SNR here, man. So, you got an SNR. It's like for the guys back in the States, it's a Costco. And so, of course, it's always easy to overspend there. So I was going there, man. I was buying grape juice and, all these bottled juices and stuff like that. And then realizing that, that was a couple $100 on top of the budget. And plus, it's not really healthy for you. So I just thought, we were able to look at what we were spending and eliminate it. And that's why now we can just kind of go through the month without having to itemize everything. I still put in Quicken program spending, but, it's not like breaking down every bit, because that was pretty tedious. And I did that for about 3 or 4 years of doing that to kind of get you used to spending.
You had to do it for your business.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everything.
Yeah. But let me ask Bea something, because I think this is relevant to everything right now. What was what kind of reputation did you have of Black men before you met your husband?
Nothing really. I haven't really thought of like marrying a Black man, or like even thinking about what I see him now, because I can't have a before of what I think of Black men. I think y'all are the same, all in Americans are the same. But as I'm married, I married him and spending 8 years together. One of the things that I can really say are Black men are really hardworking. And I have talked to a lot of Filipinas who are married to Black men, and we all say the same thing. When we talk together, it's like, have you ever thought of marrying a Black man? I said, no. Okay. And then what can you say now that you're married? And they said, we all realize that you all are hardworking, really, guys, and you really want to provide for your family. So that's what I'm thinking now.
I think that's pretty interesting, because I've got some subscribers here. They're staying on this resort, and we were just talking, and we were talking about when one Black person. The only reason I asked you is because they think, well, if one Black person does that, it means all Black people do it, which is not really true. That's not true. There's no monolithic Black person, monolithic Black movement in America. We're all individuals like anybody else. But okay, like if somebody, like when what happened there, what was that where the guy goes in that school and shoots 20 of them first graders? Where did that happen, John? Was that
what was this?
Castle or somewhere? Remember the boy went in that school in Connecticut or somewhere and shot those 2 first graders, right?
Yeah.
It was a young white guy.
Yeah. Well, it is usually white guys. Why are you so pissed off? I don't know why the white guys are so pissed off and they got to arm them. What are you scared of? They've never been a victim of violent crime. Why are you picking
Right.
up a gun? What are you doing? I don't get it. I don't, you know, very few times in my career did I ever wear a firearm. Almost never. It's just rare that acts of violence are going to take place on something. But I want to, if I could ask a question about this, when I was, am I wrong? But aren't the indigenous Filipinos darker?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
isn't it
Well, they're actually
possible?
black.
And I
They're
think I've
actually black.
seen that some Filipinas are biased towards darker Filipinas. How does that equate with?
True. Let Bea answer that one because I think
Well,
she.
it's the same. Let me say this first before she answers. It's the same as you got racist white men in America, but they come over here and date damn near black Filipinas. I mean, you know, you figure it out. It's crazy, but I don't know how that works.
Baffles me too. It really does.
Because we know people like that.
Yeah, we know people like that. But,
so for Filipinas, yes, our ancestors are black, like Atas. Those are like really the ones in the mountains. So, but because of being colonized of different countries, you know, I'm mixed. I have strong Hispanic on my blood. Um, um, we tend to be brainwashed. I would say that whiter skin color will be prettier, things like that.
Wow.
And growing up, that's also kind of like have been a mindset because I was darker when I was younger. You know, because I love the beach, but I was always teased at being compared to other lighter skinned Filipinas that I feel like I'm not pretty at all or beautiful at all. So yeah, it comes with having the colonizers come and do that, and it's pretty bad because because a lot of other Filipinas would actually inject themselves with these whitening things
really
to be white. So
they do it. But they're actually white. They're actually white like this.
I was gonna say, man, that's paper white.
They're not even white. But
it's not like a real color.
They equate the white skin to the power structure. So they say, I want to be a part of the power structure. So I want to be white. Black people were the same way, John. Madam C.J. Walker became the first black millionaire by selling whitening products. Why do you think you see, imagine, why do you think you see black women with all these weaves and all this stuff going on? Okay, now how ridiculous would it be if I was to wear a white man's hair to feel handsome? Wouldn't that be ridiculous if I had to go around wearing a white man's hair? But that's what they're doing. That's what black women do. And it all started back in those days, where they had the orange, you make their hair long, then they had the whitening soap, the same thing they use over here.
Yeah.
Because if the lighter your skin, the more favorable you were to society, you could get a job. My grandmother was actually white. She passed as white because her father was white. And that's the only way she was able to get a job. So when we went to her job downtown, we couldn't acknowledge her or she'd be fired. So my mother is not much. My mother's the same color, well, lighter than Bea. And I was showing the guy today. I showed him my sister. Let me see if I can show y'all her. I ain't going to take a lot of time. But I showed him a picture of my sister. We have the same mother, the same father. And she looks white, basically, But I think that has a lot to do with it.
So John and Cal, and John, you said you were here too. Did you ever see those indigenous people? Because they come out of the mountains, they come down into the cities like during the Burr months, right before Christmas.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have things that they hand make and they sell on like bow and arrows and things. And that's such an interesting part of the year when all of a sudden you see, and they're sleeping in parks on the side of the roads with 4 or 5 kids. that blew my mind the first time I saw it, because we were in Malolos and they had just inhabited some abandoned, kind of broken down concrete structure right at a stoplight, and they lived there for a couple of months, so you really can. People think they've never seen these types of people that we were talking about, but they're here, and they come down.
The first one I ever saw was when I was in Barrio Barreto, and I was in a little shack on the beach, and he was sleeping on the beach, and I asked whomever I was with, who is this person? And they explained. But that's the beauty of travel and exploring other cultures and seeing. That's why I'm in Mexico. I want to see something different, man. I've been in the United States forever. That's why I want to do some more travel, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on out there that enriches our lives. Calvin, we need more guys like you down here. There's not a black community down here, and Mexicans aren't racist at all.
But here's where you got to understand, John. Do some research. It's a lot of black Mexicans, believe it or not. They're actually black.
Well, that's true. But
they're black.
I'm talking about their African Latinos. They're actually from Africa. I mean, their ancestors and doing the slave trade and all of that stuff. It's a lot of them, man.
We need quality folks like you guys down here.
Yeah. But you're right about that. But see, in Iloilo, that's where I see most of the Ada. Whenever I go to Iloilo or Boracay, when I'm going through Antique, that's where you see them. I mean, they look just like me, except they speak, whatever their language is. What is it? What do they speak in Iloilo? What, Ilongo?
Yes, Ilongo.
Yeah, because but they're very, very shy. If you think Filipinos are shy and bashful, I was gonna give. There's a little Ada guy was working in Baraka. I mean, he was sweating. He had that two-wheeler with about 20 cases of Coke, and I ran up to him. I was gonna give him a Coke. Man, this guy took off. Man, he left the two-wheeler there and he took off. Oh man, it was funny. But anyway, I just wanted to ask you that, Bale, because I get that question all the time. And I'm like, well, why would you ask me if Filipinos like black men when I'm a black man? And I've never had a problem with women. And I think that they're not as shallow as we are. I mean, we're just a race. That's never going anywhere. It's the number one reason I left, John, was racism. It's never going anywhere in America. It's going to stay there. And that's the only thing about America I really don't like. And the high cost of living and the rat race, but it's racism. It's never going to go anywhere. It's ignorant. I mean, you would think in 2023, they're sending unmanned robots circling Mars and we're getting within a certain distance of the sun. You would think that people would know by now that the color of your skin has nothing to do with your character or anything like that. But they don't. It's worse now. So,
you can have several shows about American problems. But so how are that white expats? How do you get on with them? How do they treat you?
Well, over here, I meet great guys over here. I've never had any problems over here. Now, they'll do videos about stuff like the guy, the real popular expat over here, just had one. He had some guy on there talking about black people are more racist than white people. And I'm like, you don't know what a racist is then. Because black people have never written one piece of legislation that would impede the progress of white folks. We've never had, there never was a Jim Crow for white people in America. There never was slavery, the type of chattel slavery that black people endured in America. You don't know what you're talking about, but other than that, we get along fine over here. My channel is all inclusive. Okay. Most of the time when I have my meet and greets in the morning, there's more whites than blacks. We don't have any problems over here, but I don't know if you've ever watched my channel. I had moonshine shoulders. I'm sunshine shoulders. He's moonshine shoulders because he drank and he got drunk. When he passed away, he was a white guy from the hills of West Virginia. You couldn't get more Trump than him. But we got along because he was who he said he was. He wasn't trying to be a liberal, and he really didn't like Filipinos. He didn't like Filipinos. Only the woman he was dealing with. Okay? But me and him got along real well because he finally met a black man that wasn't like the stereotypical black man that he heard about growing up.
Yeah.
So I kind of opened his eyes a little bit. But yeah, we don't have any problems over here. Race is not a problem for expats over here. Have you run into anything like that, Stephen?
Not at all. Not at all. I prefer, I find comfort in living in an environment that's not so toxic. And, I find that with the color of my skin, to be honest, a lot of people think I'm Filipino when I'm walking around.
Oh, yeah. You look Filipino in person.
When I speak, heads turn like they're just surprised. That happened today. And so, it's just nice to not be worried about that. Always looking over your shoulder or, just kind of, having the conflicts. Because I meet a lot of white expats in the gym, and they're the nicest guys. A lot of them are veterans, no surprise.
Yeah.
And old cats, like not World War II, but Vietnam vets, and and it's just that instant bond. It's more about what's bonding you together than what's separating you here. I find.
Yeah. I agree.
But I mean, you do have racist expats here, but I think it kind of stays in check because you don't have the same privilege. None of us foreigners have the same privileges we do here that we did in our own country. So you can't really boast that you're superior because the Filipinos will let you know right away.
That's right.
So, I figured out if you've got borderline personalities in the United States, you're going to have them in Mexico and in Philippines. You got a chip on your shoulder. You're going to drag that luggage with you everywhere you go. And you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. If you don't get rid of that junk, you're just going to keep dragging it behind you.
Yeah. Who wants to live that way, though? Who wants to live that way? Do you think I really sit around wondering what white people are doing? I don't do it. I got better things to do. But Bea said something earlier when I said, what was the reputation of did she have a black man? She said, well, we looked at all of y'all black and white as foreigners. And that's what they do over here. And that will humble you more than anything, because they're going to lump you all in. You're just a damn foreigner over here.
That's true.
And this is the way they see it. I'm sorry. But I don't even like to, it is good. I'm as free here as I've ever been.
Me too.
I've never been as free as I am in the Philippines. Because the police actually serve and protect me over here. When they stop me, when they pull me over, guess what? It's to take a picture with me. That's a fact. Okay, because they were following me in San Carlos. I'm like, well, damn, what did I do? And the guy says, I just wanted to take a picture with you. I was like, man,
when we first moved to Iloilo, it was during an election time. And we were going to pull into the road leading to the subdivision we live in. And there was a checkpoint. And we have really dark tint on our windows. So we go to this checkpoint. And I mean, these guys are carrying, military grade assault rifles and stuff like that. And, they're on the ready. We roll our windows down. They were the most polite, hi, sir, mom. I was just like, man, in the States, that would not be that situation that you would have police that armed and ready looking for bombs or whatever they were stopping us for. It was a total checkpoint. Just the politeness from the police there. I'm not sure. How's it in Mexico, John? Because I don't feel any kind of threat from police.
It's good and bad. It's we're treated respectfully as they hold their hand out for more detail, meaning a bribe. You know, they're very nice. They're very nice to us when they want to pay us for, you know, oh, you blew a stop sign, you were going over the speed limit, whatever. And there's two lines of thinking down here about that. Do you give them money and go on your way, or do you force them to take you down, you know, to the jail, to the courts? And listen, man, if I can pay somebody $20 to get out of whatever I'm in, I'm cool. Here, take the money and do it. But you know, they have military checkpoints. You know, I've never had a problem, man. And listen, I've got a policy that a smile goes a long way. A kind word goes a long way. You know, a hi goes a long way, man. If you know, I don't know that these are the kind of people that you want to have a confrontation with. And not only that, but down towards Cancun, the Yucatan Peninsula, that sort of thing. You know, the police are hand and fist with the mafia, the cartels. You don't, you know, if you aren't of value to them by paying them more detail, there's a good possibility you're going to get turned over to some bad people, and they're going to hold you hostage and call your family and tell them, you know, send some money. Now, that doesn't happen up here. You can look at the CIA. You know, they've got their website up. What's dangerous? Don't go. Do go. I think you're kind of crazy if you go to Russia, North Korea, and Sinaloa maybe. But, you know, everybody's pleasant. The police are pleasant. The national
Swaziland over here.
I'm pleasant.
Yeah. But, okay, here's why it keeps going in America. And it's because of guys like this. He said, do you want to live in these?
No way.
St. Louis. We're too busy pointing fingers in America. We're all Americans, and if America goes down the drain, we're all going down with it. He says, oh, do you want to live in?
Cal's
looks like we might have lost you, man. Well, you two got it going on. I think like you two. You're quality folks.
Thanks, John.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, John, watching that channel.
To get off of it, man.
Yeah.
But I want to plug your channel. Plug your channel, John.
Oh, it's Crazy Old Gringo.
Plug your channel.
And again, Crazy Old Gringo, and again, it's just about me getting on a bike or a quad or hitting a dollar taco stand or, you know, whatever. I'm not here to change the world or anything. It's my ship in a bottle moment.
You got to do more of those taco things. Man.
But those are the best channels for real, but nobody watches them. Those are the best channels.
I think I have a whopping 30 subscribers or something, but I don't really care.
I'm sorry, Cal, you're breaking up.
Your bandwidth is bad.
Yeah, he's on that.
So you know, I did a lot of work with SEO. I had a lot of attorneys that specialized in reverse SEO because people were going out and doing defamation, trying to ruin reputations. They would go on these websites and post insane things.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate enough through that to learn SEO and got my website when I was in business. I've since retired, right up in front through, you know, through the magic, you know, optimizing the website and backlinks and all the stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. In fact, we learn these skills because when we shut all our businesses down, you know,
Crazy Old Gringo.
They needed
success, man. We're gonna have you back on here, John. You're our type of expat. Go ahead, Philippines in full effect. Plug your channel.
All right, guys. You know, come.
Well, I enjoyed it a lot. This is the most I've talked in 9 years.
Hey, you can come up anytime, man.
All right, thank you.
Cal,
thanks for having me on, man. It was a real pleasure.
And join our channel, John. I like to keep in touch with you, a fellow Navy guy, always.
All right.
You're going to come back, man. You're our top.
I will. Yeah, someday have me on and I'll talk to you about harrowing private investigator stories and some of the things that we have access to that will make you lose sleep. Everything that you don't want me to have access to, I do. And so I think it's a good lesson for everybody out there to understand that there's no secrets. People like me have them, and really bad people like me have them too.
All right,
so our site is Philippines and Full Effect.
You think I look good with your hair on my head, John?
I think we're okay.
Calvin's band with us, bad kids. I'll see you. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, same here, John. You take care.
Great day.
All right. So, Cal, are you back? Are you connected back?
Yeah, we're connected back. Y'all got a good 2 minutes before you're gonna go crazy again.
All right. We're the Philippines in Full Effect. This is a partner site with my wife. We work as a team together, just like we did in our business. And we're going to be covering everything about the Philippines. That's why it's called the Full Effect. We have a relationship side, from the perspective of us. And I think we're two level-headed people, so we bring a lot to the table. Our journey together was, I wouldn't suggest anybody do what I did, but, we will explore that in our site and, give people an insight about relationships and how to find good Filipinos, because, if you match up with the wrong one, your life won't be as happy here. It could get pretty dramatic. So we have that part of ours. Also, just general life in the Philippines. What is just everyday life? Of course, business is going to be a big part of it. We're about to launch our business series coming up, not just our business, but other businesses. We know other really successful business people in the communities here, and we'll be featuring them too. And so we will be offering business consulting as well for people that are interested in coming, and also the travel. And so those are like those pillars of our page.
Let me ask Bea something real quick. Let me read this first. He said, King Arthur, thanks for that super chat. He said, I agree with you, John. A female Mexican police officer was busted for taking American cars and was living in a mansion in Tijuana. And he's thanks for that super chat, Al Rogan. He said $10 on the hair weave. Thank you for that super sticker. But Bea, why do you think that the Philippines and Filipinos are so popular right now? Why do you think? I mean, you're the most popular subject on YouTube right now.
Yes, because I think that we are what men are looking for from Western countries. One of the things is that our temperament and how our culture have built us up to what a wife material should be like. And I think that's why it's a popular topic now, because a lot of Western men are looking for a woman like that, and Filipinas are like that. So I think that's the main thing. And we're not doing it because we want to be snatched by foreigners. It's just how we are raised up in our culture is. So it's a natural thing for us. So we don't need to pretend that we're somebody else. Yeah.
I think the naysayers, they got to realize that they're like that with their own Filipino men. They're not just doing it for foreigners. So, the naysayers, they're just trying to get these men. They're just trying to get your money or whatever. That's far from the truth. It's just the values that they're brought up on. And I see it through her brothers, kids, and the nieces and nephews and stuff. The work ethic and of the young girls, that's where it's really starting. So it's
I'm just saying, because when I started my channel in 2020, August 2020, so August will be 3 years for me, I had no idea the Philippines was so popular. on YouTube. I didn't do any research, and I just took my phone and started talking into the phone, because actually YouTube owed me $50, but I couldn't get it until I got 100. So I said, well, I'm gonna just make some videos to get my $50. And little did I know the Philippines was so popular, man. That's the only reason I'm sitting here now, approaching 50,000 subscribers, and y'all gonna do the same thing eventually, because they can't get enough of the Philippines. This is how it is. You can't get enough of the Philippines, but that's enough for me. Thank y'all for your super chat, super stickers, all your thumbs up. Thank you to my guests. Philippines in full effect. John from Crazy Old Gringo. Y'all get that place together in Iloilo.
Okay.
We'll have to meet and greet there in June.
Yeah, we'll start working on that this weekend. We'll start some places, take some pictures and stuff.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Take care.
Boots on the ground. It's the real nitty-gritty. Boots on the ground.
Take care, everybody. Y'all have a nice day today. I'm gonna go out.